We're on Sotah, Perak Tet. Mishnah Tet, 9th Mishnah in the 9th chapter of Sotah. Okay, and now we've been talking about the idea of the Eglah Arufah, the ceremony that was done when they found someone murdered and they didn't know who committed the murder. So our Mishnah is now going to talk about, well, let's read it, and then and after this Mishnah, the rest of the Mishnayot are going to talk about what was lost when things change over time, when things that were lost that were part of the Jewish tradition. When the murderers became so great in number, batla Eglah Arufah. Okay, the Eglah Arufah was negated. They stopped doing the Eglah Arufah ceremony. Okay, why? Because they said, okay, they can't say, because he says, because they knew who the murderers were. Meaning, you found somebody on the side of the road, outside of Lud, they knew who the gangs were. So if you know who the gangs are, it kind of reminds us of our time. Like the police, and they know, they can't do anything about it, but they know who committed the murder. Okay, so now Mishnah is very fascinating. Mishaba Eliezer ben Dinai. When Eliezer ben Dinai came, Utchina ben Prisha Yanikra. His name was Tchina ben Prisha. This seems like a pen name. Tchina is a supplication. Prisha is parush, separate. He's a separatist. Hayanikra. Chazru likroto ben Aratzchan. And they began to call him ben Aratzchan, the son of the murderer. So you just know that there are different girsa'ot. This Mishnah, this guy Eliezer ben Dinai, he appears in a number of places in Chazal. There's a Wikipedia entry about him. Wikipedia is pretty much amazing. Okay, he's mentioned by Yosef ben Metidyahu. Eliezer ben Dinai was Hayam Manhig Chaburat Mordim Politim. He was the leader of political rebels. Bitkufat Nitzivut Ashniya, during the second Nitzivut, and remember Roman something of the Shilton Romai Eretz Yisrael. See, during the second Roman something Nitzivut, I should know what that is. He was mentioned by Josephus, who called him Listim. He's also mentioned in the Midrash and the Talmud. Again, he mentions our Mishnah. So they say, I saw one interpretation that says the following, that Eliezer ben Dinai, he was a political dissident. Then the Romans, they cast him out. Okay, the Romans made him political dissident. He was a rebel. But then, that was Eliezer ben Dinai. Tchina ben Prisha was called Tchina ben Prisha. But then he began to turn on the Jewish people themselves. And he turned into somehow you turn from a political against the Romans, and then anybody who doesn't come with you and rebel against the Romans, they're a traitor as well, and started murdering Jews as well. Then Chazru likroto ben Aratzchan, they called him ben Aratzchan. I recommend strongly looking it up and reading in here. There's a whole discussion about Eliezer ben Dinai, and that he was called Achnai, okay, and Dinai, and they called it Tanurosha Achnai. They called it Tanurosha ben Dinai. If you're familiar with the Gemara of Tanur shel Achnai, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a special oven that could be taken apart. And you would well understand why a rebel, why a band of marauding murderers would have to have an oven that could be taken apart. Anyway, so therefore, they stopped the Eglah Arufah, because Eglah Arufah is only for unknown murderers. But if you know who the murderers are, then if you know who the murderers are, then there's no reason to do the Eglah Arufah. Also, you have to be pretty infamous to get your name into the Mishnah as a well-known murderer. They called him Ben Aratzchan. It's worth, if you're interested, you should do more research on this fascinating story. When the Mena'afim, when they were increased to the Mena'afim, the adulterers, Paskua Mayim Mamarim, they stopped doing the Mayim Mamarim. They stopped doing the bitter water, the Sotah ceremony in the Beit HaMikdash. Why did they stop doing it? Because the Gemara says, okay, they said that only if, when the ish menuka mi avon, it says, va'ishat hi tisat avona. If the man is clean of sin, then the woman should bear her sin. So they said, when there's no sinners, right? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai yifsika. Rabbi Yochanan stopped it. Shnei Amar, it says, lo efkod abanotechem, I will not efkod, watch over, or guard over, or, let's look it up. This is just a Safari website. I will not punish their daughters, for fornicating, nor their daughters-in-law for committing adultery. For they themselves turn aside with whores and sacrifice with prostitutes. Meaning, they themselves sin. So how can I do? He's going to bring his wife and say, how can you have committed adultery against me? How can you have acted in such an inappropriate way? Look at yourself. So therefore, they stopped. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, this is ridiculous. We're going to do the Sotah, ki'ilu, like we're preserving this family life. And it's not working, and the reason it's not going to work, as the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, yeah, sure, I care about your family life and your family purity when you do. But if your kids and your wives and you are gallivanting around and going to different, whatever, God only knows what, it's not going to work. Rabbi Yossi ben Eliezer, Ish Tzreida, Yossi ben Yochanan, Ish Shalem. They were members of the Zugot. So when they died, so now we're going to go along and say, when they died, this happened. And when this was lost, that happened. So when they died, but Luha Eshkolot. Eshkolot are grape clusters. They were called the Eshkolot. What are the Eshkolot? Ish Shakol Bo. It's a play on words. Eshkol. Ish Shakol Bo. A man who has everything. Kolomar. Toratam emet bli dopi. Their Torah is their true people. They're authentic through and through. So they were the last. The Yossi ben Eliezer, Ish Tzreida, Yossi ben Yochanan, they were the Eshkolot. They were the full package. Shneimar, ein eshkol le'echol bikura ivta nafshi. Let's look it up in the Safari, what the pasuk means. As it says, okay, there is not a cluster of grapes to eat, not a ripe fig I could desire. The pious are vanished from the land. None upright are left among men. It says in Mishnah that these were obviously very special people. And when they were gone, the Tanaim mourned their loss and said, it's not the way it used to be. Stop here and dedicate our learning to the memory of my father. Oh, we lost it. Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak. Come on. Have a great day.